Okay. So, if you could you please state your name and your project that you submitted to the festival?
Yeah, my name is Megan Kensel, and my project is called Lob.
Just to start off with a few questions. So, what inspired you to make this?
Um, what inspired me, like the idea for the story, or it's inspired by my real life therapist,
Mhm.
um, who's like a genuinely funny person. She makes me laugh. So I thought that would be a fun character to have like a therapist who's just kind of irreverent and humorous.
Yeah, you could see that through the film, but sorry, I'll let you
No, I'm
continue.
I'm glad you can see that. That makes me happy to hear. Um, and I have been seeing her somewhat consistently for a really long time. So, um, I feel like the way our sort of dynamic has evolved is interesting. And I also have anxiety. That's why I go to therapy. Um, and I think anxiety can be really funny when you start to break it down, like how irrational a lot of your anxious thoughts can be. So
Mhm.
I thought of like, what's the dumbest question I've ever brought up in therapy?
Mhm.
And it was like, should I get a haircut?
Yeah.
So I actually was worrying about getting a bob, not a lob, but a lob is funnier. And I do
Yeah.
have a lob now in real life,
It looks nice on you.
which thank you,
You're
which
welcome.
you know, ultimately I decided I wasn't afraid to get my hair cut.
Yeah. I actually really like your haircut. When you
Oh,
first came in, I was like, I kind of dig it. I like it.
thank you. Thank
You're
you.
very welcome. And to follow up, so you spoke about therapy. So would you say that mental health awareness is really important to you and your work?
Yes. Yes. I think mental health is like the most important thing,
Mhm.
period. And everything comes from that. I think like our society, like we really need to examine
Yeah.
how we care for our minds and our hearts. And we don't, like, we just don't do a good job with that. And I feel like that's something that I've come to realize as an adult.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know that I'm sort of like making light of it. It is a comedic film, but we tried to make sure that we weren't making fun of therapy,
Yeah.
um, and also give it like heart because it's really meant to it's meant to be like whatever you feel is okay. Like
A free space.
yeah, like the character Ruth, who's the therapist, she doesn't really judge. Like she's a little confused, but she ends up being like, yeah, I mean, whatever you need is okay. So yeah, I would say it's really important to me, and I write a lot about anxiety and depression and things like that, but through a comedic lens.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was, would you say that an art form can be a source of therapy or like self-expression?
Definitely, yes.
I have another question. So, what's your background in film or writing, as you were saying earlier, that you would like to share?
Yeah, good question. I sort of have come to it weirdly.
Mhm.
I was a theater kid and then I studied acting in college. Um, and as part of the program, they sort of encourage you to make your own work. And
Mhm.
I always loved writing, but I thought I like really wanted to be like an actor, like in plays, like in New York, which is why I moved here. But I just found myself being more drawn to making my own stuff. And in my early 20s, my friend Jenny, who actually directed this film, she and I were like, why don't we make a web series and just like see? So we tried that out. That was sort of our first time trying to make anything film like. And we had a great time. And we made a bunch of those, and then we sort of both started to feel like, yeah, I think film is a better fit.
Yeah.
Um, and it has just allowed me to, yeah, write my own stories, and I just want to do more of it. I'm kind of like it's still a new part of
Yeah.
my career, I would say. So,
So
yeah.
you're still figuring it out, but like in a
Yeah.
productive and I would say successful way.
Trying, yeah.
My next question is for the future, like your future in filmmaking or just being a creative in general. Where do you see yourself?
Um, well, I'm continuing to make more short films for the time being. She's actually going to direct another one that I wrote that we're
Mm,
going to film that in a few months. And I did another one last year after I made this one. So I'm just trying to keep, like, I mean, I don't have a lot of funds. So,
yeah.
these are like really low budget projects that are obviously we pay our crew, but
Mm.
it's
It's
getting a lot of favors and working with friends to make things happen and just spending our own money to make things. So that's where I'm at right now.
yeah.
And I hope that eventually I'll be able to, work with producers who are able to help fund bigger projects. Because
Mm,
I have some ideas that are impossible to make with my own money.
yeah.
And I actually was lucky enough to work with Adult Swim last year on another short film.
That's
So
really cool.
they gave us a small budget, and it allowed us to be really creative, which
Mm,
was really cool. And I am also working on some feature film scripts that we'll see what happens with those. But
yeah.
yeah,
So you see yourself continuing to create through film.
definitely, definitely. I don't know when I'll be able to quit my day job, but or maybe maybe never, but I feel like I will always want to be creating things.
So leading into that, always wanting to create, what would you give new filmmakers? Because I know you said you're still starting out and figuring it out yourself, but for someone that was in your shoes where you were just like, I think I'm gonna take up filmmaking, what would you give what advice would you give them?
Oh man. I'm like, I need advice.
Yeah.
um, I mean, I guess the only reason that this film happened is because I just decided to make it, and I saved a bunch of money from my job. Um, and I was just like, I'm gonna use it. And I literally filmed it in my apartment that I'm in right now. And that has challenges for sure.
Yeah.
But I would say if you want to just make something and you feel like you don't have any connections, or if you don't have enough experience, which is sort of how I felt, um, just think of what's the cheapest thing I could make that still is an exciting story to
Yeah.
me. Because that's part of, I was like, okay, this is an idea I have. And honestly, it was like a way more complicated idea to
Yeah.
begin with. And then I was like, well, what if I just shoot it in my apartment, just this like one part? What does that look like?
Hmm.
And in the end, it ended up, I think, being better and funnier because it was just short and to the point.
Yeah. So however what I'm hearing is just go for it. Just
I
have
mean, I don't know any different. I wish I had like more wisdom.
no, it's okay because I feel we're still like figuring it out. All of us are still figuring it out because I just came back into film making kind of.
Yeah, cool.
I was just like, I don't really know what I'm doing, so I'm just gonna help make a documentary with the rest of the interns. That's what
That's awesome.
I'm doing. So yeah, I feel like we're just all figuring it out.
That reminds me of another thing, which is just like tell your friends your ideas and
Yeah.
talk about it. One of the reasons that this happened also is in the pandemic, like early pandemic times.
Yeah, when we
A,
were all in our houses.
a friend of mine who also is interested in screenwriting decided, like, let's have a writers group. Let's meet on Zoom
Mm,
once a week and let's read each other's work and give each other feedback.
hmm.
Since we started that group of 4 people, now it's 5 people.
Okay.
We've also produced, like, I want to say at least 10 projects that all just were in that
Yeah.
writers group. And we are still going. We don't meet every week anymore. But
Okay.
I think ask for support from your friends and it'll
Yeah.
be there. Yeah.
Yeah. So friendship and just going for it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know anything else. So
It's okay. I feel like that's a great piece of advice.
hopefully.
Um, do you have anything that you would like other people to know about your film or any other films that are coming up?
About this film,
It could be
it's
about this one or anything.
Lob is also screening at another festival in New York in September. So if you can't catch it with Astoria, that's something. Although maybe you don't want to include that. Do what you want. Um,
This is a free space.
yeah, I'm thinking like what else would be. I guess just as a free space, like I would just say I am really excited to be in this festival because it's like my neighborhood and my community. And I literally made the film in Astoria.
Nice.
So it's just like fun to have it in this festival. And I'm excited to celebrate with other local filmmakers. Yeah,
Are you gonna be at the film festival?
definitely. I'm definitely going to come to the party and I want to come to the in-person screenings. Our editor is actually getting married on October 1st. So,
Oh, nice. Oh, well, is there like a conflict a little bit?
yeah. So
Uh,
I might have to miss some of it, but
you'll be
definitely
there.
still gonna yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, Megan, for today's.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you being here.
And thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time. And
Nothing at all.
yeah, thank you.
No problem. I hope to see